Today we're going to be taking a look at a balance brewer, a brewing method that was originally invented in around 1850. This model we're using today is a modern take on the old styles. This one runs on springs instead of counterweight. So first I'm going to be adding 700 mils of just off boiled water. If you notice, the springs are compressing at this point and it's weighing down the kettle. That's part of what makes this an automatic coffee maker. Fill it up with the 700 mils, and the next step is we're going to be adding the filter and spigot. And this gasket is a bit soft. I actually need to replace it. As you can see, it kind of doesn't fully sit in tight. When it heats up, it actually expands a bit, so it is functional. It also helps with brewing later. The next thing is I'm going to be opening up the spring-loaded cap. This is actually what makes it automatic. When the kettle's weighted down with water, it keeps the cap open. When the kettle doesn't have any more water in it, it lifts up and the cap closes automatically. And here that's 49 grams of coffee, 7 grams per 100 ml. And you want to stir it a bit. I'm going to stir it here to kind of level it out. Next, I'm going to be adding fire. Now, I'm using an alcohol burner here, and it does create a bit of soot. You can actually see it here. It's going to be forming soon. This is 91% pure. If you use 99% pure isopropyl, it should burn cleaner. It's not too difficult to clean off, but you know it is an issue. So you got to find a clean fuel source. I'm going to be skipping forward in this just in a moment, because even with the hot water initially, this does take about 2-3 minutes to get hot enough where it's creating steam, and the steam starts pushing the water over into the brewing side, the glass side, and you should be seeing this happening right now. So what's happening here is that the steam in the kettle is forcing water up the siphon tube over to the glass portion where the brewing starts. Now at this stage you want to stir it just a bit. You want to saturate the grounds as much as you can, and then otherwise let the device do what it does. Alright, now keep an eye on the kettle on the right side and the springs. You can see that they're uncompressing a bit. They're actually in those 3 arms that the kettle sits on. And once it goes up to a certain point, you'll see the cap shuts. That's what makes it an automatic coffee brewer. And the older ones work with counterweights. This one here works with springs, but they work pretty much on the same principle. So now the water in the kettle is cooling slightly. The steam is converting back to water, and what it's doing is it's creating a vacuum and starting to suck the liquid back over, as you can see. And also the kettle's getting heavier, so it's compressing down on the springs. And I mentioned earlier that this particular model, the gasket, is a bit soft. And what it does is, at a certain point, the vacuum that's created in that kettle, some air is being drawn through the top because of the soft gasket. I don't mind that because these actually don't brew long enough to get a proper extraction. If everything was tight, at this point, all that brewed coffee would be back over in the kettle side. But because it's a little bit loose, it's actually slowing down, drawing the coffee back over to the kettle side, and that means that it's doing a bit more extraction and it's creating a better cup of coffee. So I've been on the fence whether I should replace the gasket in this, but I've decided not to, just because it draws out the brewing and the extraction a bit. Normally this would take about 30-45 seconds once the heat source is removed for the coffee to move over. In this case it's going to take about a minute, maybe a minute 10, and overall it just leads to a better cup with this particular model. As you can see here, it's almost all drawn over. There's going to be a little bit of liquid left over on the left side because the filter itself doesn't fully sit down into the bottom of that glass container. But what it's doing now is it's essentially vacuuming dry the grounds. The next stage is we're about ready, I think, at this point to serve. Let's take a look. Yeah, so let's put the glass under the spigot, open the spigot, and I also have to create a way for air to go into the kettle, so let's loosen the cap up top just a bit. And there we go. Serve out your coffee, turn the spigot closed once you get to the amount you want. And there we have it. A balanced brewer in action. Brews a pretty nice cup of coffee.